All right, so my name's Nate. I work at Voltage. This is Paul. He also works at Voltage. I do support and education. Paul is one of our front-end wizards. And Voltage, for those that do not know, we do Lightning nodes in the cloud. We also do BTC Pay server. We also have a really cool development API that we'll get into here shortly. But at the beginning here, I just kind of want to give a little bit of an overview. But I'm kind of curious, just like right now, like, does anyone currently run a Lightning node, or has any played around with Lightning nodes, opening up channels, closing channels, just kind of goofing around, that sort of thing? Cool. All right. So a few of you. Yeah. So.
Is anybody profitable?
Oh, there you go.
What? No. Are you profitable? Can you raise your hand on that?
I don't. I think I am actually, but not profitable on fees. I'm more profitable on selling channels, which I'll talk about here a little bit later. So Voltage makes it really easy to spool up a node. So before sort of a Voltage type service, you have to get hardware, install stuff. Even with my node in Umbrel, it's like kind of annoying in a lot of ways. If you're traveling, if your node breaks down, you got to go home and like fix it. So Voltage helps solve a lot of those issues for those that just want a really constant node. And the cool thing about Voltage also is it's also your node, right? So we don't see what you're doing on it. We don't have KYC or anything crazy. It's totally yours. So what I would like to do is sort of have like an interactive experience. I'm gonna basically be talking about sort of the end user, non-developer sort of experience of Voltage, and then we're gonna dive into the API with Paul and how you can use Voltage to tie into Lightning apps and cool stuff like that. So if you'd like to follow along with me, we actually do have a coupon credit, so you can start a node. This is about 2 weeks worth of credit for a standard node. It's about a month worth for a like a lighter node, which we'll talk about here in a second. So if you'd like to go to voltage.cloud and just make an account real quick, I'll give you a couple of minutes. I'll just kind of like talk a little bit. If not, it's cool. You can watch back later and do it. Oh, come on in, guys. Come on in. I know they didn't really give us very much overlap, so please come on in.
So you want to share that code again?
Yeah. Well, when we get to it. We'll get to it. I'll restart. I'll give it a little brief. Hi, Justin.
Hello.
This is our VP of Engineering, Justin. He's awesome.
See Lightning for Voltage?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
See?
It's like all I tweet about these days.
Awesome. So for everyone that just came in, I was basically just saying, so my name's Nate, this is Paul, we work at Voltage. This is Justin too, he's here just kind of hanging out with us. We're gonna I'm gonna sort of give a high level view of the Voltage product, and then we're going to dive into API and how you can use Voltage in like Lightning projects that you're building. So if you'd like to follow along, that'd be great. We can get you a node right now. If not, just kind of follow along, but I'm just gonna like show you how easy and quick it is just to have your own node with Voltage. So voltage.cloud is our website. You can click sign up in the upper right corner, and then it's your standard email and password. We don't KYC, we don't do anything like that. That'll send you a code to your email to confirm, yada, 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 and then you're in. Once you get in, it's going to ask you sort of what you want to do. I'm not going to create an account here, but you're going to see it's going to give you an option of a BTC Pay server, an LND node, or a Bitcoin Core node. Just pick LND node. It'll ask you for an alias, so that's like the name of your node. You can name it whatever you want, and then your node password. It's important to remember. I just want to make this distinction. It'll tell you an alert on the screen as you're signing up for it that the Voltage password to your dashboard is something that we can change. You can change. But your node password is what you use to unlock your node. It's what encrypts your node. It's what keeps us away from seeing what you're doing with your node. So that password, keep safe, don't forget it, or you'll have to do sort of like a seed phrase backup thing. Oh, thank you, Paul. Yep, that there.
Chase Bank.
Hey, so just to clarify, right, is that you guys on Voltage's end, because you guys don't control that password, everything is behind Tor, everything is encrypted on the node side, so you have no idea, like you couldn't, if I were like, hey, Voltage, what do you know about my node?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
Right, so the password I'm putting in right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. that is going to encrypt the macaroon client side when this node gets created. And so we will never have, we'll store your encrypted macaroon for you and you can access it and stuff, but we never actually have the decrypted macaroon. So in that sense, if you trust that we're not running like a fork of LND that where this doesn't matter,
Right.
then we actually can't move your funds.
There is a little bit of element of trust with using Voltage, but what we do see though is we see an email obviously, and the email is tied to your alias. So we see like an email is associated with an alias, and then we can take that alias and go to an Explorer and see public information about your node. We can see your total capacity, that sort of thing, but we can't see what you're doing or have any access to what you're doing at all.
So where does the hardware live today? Is it?
Right now we're on AWS.
Okay.
Justin has very
Yeah, we're working on other kind of multi-cloud, like
Yeah.
other clouds and then on-prem stuff.
And redundancies
as well.
and
So we're like,
stuff
we
like that.
started on AWS. And the answer to your question was we can basically see like how much RAM your node is using. That's about it.
All right, so I'm gonna.
You got this.
Yeah, I know, man. I always mess up the first. What? Oh, I spelled highlighter wrong. I just made this today.
Available when I tried to create that node, so if you're looking to whatever happened with that, I've never seen that before.
And you can do testnet voltage nodes too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I made this account earlier, like yesterday. This is sort of your node dashboard. You can turn to night mode if you want to. Yeah, so we'll talk about flow maybe here in a second. Just your standard stuff. Billing, we charge by the hour. So you just add credit. You can add credit with Bitcoin. You can use a credit card if you really want to. And it's just charges by the minute. If you are, let's see, we go to billing. If you go to billing and then add coupon, this is where you can put in this and get $15. That's our gift to everybody here right now. Voltage_plus, all capital. And that'll give you a little bit. So I made a node called FaceRipper 10,000. This is, again, just a demo node for you guys, so it'll show you here. You can have as many nodes as you'd like. There's no problem there. You can, and you see this screen here, you can make a BTC Pay server. If you run a BTC Pay server with a Lightning node on Voltage, they automatically talk to each other. You don't have to base 64 or whatever it is, your macaroons. But if you run a Lightning node at home, and you would like to run a BTC Pay server and just a BTC Pay server with Voltage and connect your node from home to a BTC Pay server from Voltage, you could do that too. So it's whatever you'd like. Or vice versa. If you want to do a Lightning node on Voltage, BTC Pay at home, whatever you'd like. So once that node is running, this is the Voltage GUI dashboard for your Lightning node. The enter node password to unlock. For anyone experiencing Lightning nodes, you need to sort of unlock your node. This is your node password that we don't save, so it's decrypting. I'll put in what I come up with real quick. Cool, and so since it's your node, you have access to everything. You got logs, you got your admins, your TLS certificates, seed phrase. Recommend writing that down as soon as you can. You would need that if there was ever any issue. If you have that seed phrase, you can restore at least your funds partially on another LND instance. Cool, so fun part, settings. So for anyone that's messed with LND at all, there's a configuration file that you can set things like, color, minimum channel size, maximum channel size, maximum pending channel, stuff like that. You don't have access to the full SSH exposure of your node, but we have all of those functions or features that you can change in the settings file. So for example, in channel settings, You can set a minimum channel size if you don't want people to open up channels less than a certain amount, things like that. So you can go through there and do that. Generally the defaults are fine. Some people like a minimum channel size because, I don't know, having 100,000 sat channels opened up to you is kind of, it's just kind of annoying to some people, I guess. So it depends on what you want to do. The cool thing about running a Lightning node also is people run Lightning nodes for many different reasons. It's not like all in one, right? Like you can run a node on Voltage connected to Zeus on your phone, and now you can just go like to El Salvador and go buy stuff using your Zeus wallet on your phone connected to your Voltage node. Or if you just want to start a merchant store, focus on inbound liquidity and then receive, or you can have a full-blown routing node if you'd like.
Nate did a really cool podcast with Stefan Lovera about these kind of different personas, and I think it's a really helpful way to think about it. There's not a one-size-fits-all of how to run a Lightning node. It's very much based on what you need to get out of it.
Yeah.
If it's just using it with Zeus so you can make payments, or if it's like running a store, or you're trying to be profitable as a router, those are all very different ways that you would go about running a node. Or you might even have different nodes to serve those different purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of folks, maybe they have a ton of capital, they want to run a really crazy, awesome routing node, but they don't want that routing node tied to their personal identity. So maybe they'll segregate that from the node that they use to buy gift cards on Bitrefill or something like that. So it's like for a privacy-focused individual could do something like that. For me,
I had a quick question on the channel settings. What does autopilot do?
So autopilot is a L&D thing that it basically detects that you have funds on chain sitting on your Lightning node wallet, which I'll show here in a second, and then it'll just open up a channel to some node out there that Lightning Labs is. I assume it's going to be something on Terminal Web.
So it's kind of like the old, if you remember, the Casa autopilot.
Maybe autopilot's been around since the beginning, but
right.
yeah. So
I thought that was a Casa thing, but it's obviously an L&D.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. So those settings, feel free to like surf through those. Ask me any questions. I'll be here all week, obviously. If you have any questions there, or be around on the hackathon if you're around there. The network stuff, so the URI, this is your pub key and your socket. This is what you would give people if you wanted them to open up a channel with you. And you can share that with folks. Connect. Okay, so we don't have a lot of, what's up?
Are they, by default, are they hybrid or Tor only or?
Tor only.
Okay.
Yep. We do offer a ClearNet option, but it's a little bit pricier and it's like by use case. So we'll have to talk and develop a quote for you, that sort of thing. Most people are happy with Tor though. So we have a couple open source products built into Voltage, which I'll go over here in a second. But for those that we don't have built in, we have on the Connect tab, we have a list of some of the most popular ones out there, such as Zeus and Lightning Terminal. So if you wanted to connect your Voltage node to Lightning Terminal, which is a Lightning Labs product that lets you do submarine swaps and sell liquidity on their pool, for example, you would have to install that on a local machine and then point it to your Voltage node. So some of these are a little bit more difficult to connect than others. So for example, if you wanted to use Voltage as a like mobile wallet to go, you can simply scan this QR code with Zeus on your phone and you'd be all set. So that's some of our options. We're adding to this all the time. I think the latest one we added was Lightning Jet, which is an auto rebalancer, open source, which is kind of cool. All right, and going along, we have dashboards. We have had Thunderhub for a long time. I'm gonna go through Thunderhub here in just a second. LNBits we just added, which is a really cool way to connect to different kinds of extensions. It has its own little API thing going for it. And for those that don't know anything about LNBits, it's free with your node, so please check it out. I'm going to go into Thunderhub real quick. An important thing about Thunderhub is it gives you an endpoint when you launch it, but after 60 minutes of inactivity or 6 hours, it shuts it down. So you just need to build another one, which, I mean, I'll show you actually. I'll just delete this one.
I could download Thunderhub on my local machine and just point it at my voltage meter, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you'd like to use it built-in, use it built-in too. So see how, hopefully it doesn't take too long. Any questions so far? I'm kind of just blasting through this. Anything else? Okay.
One interesting thing on the network tab that maybe helps people understand the architecture, like this is I'm like 99% sure. I built this, but it's like this is get info, right? So this is the front end using the L&D API. Just talk directly to your node. You have the decrypted like macaroon in your browser, and you're talking directly to the L&D node. So like we don't know these numbers of the active channels, inactive channels, that kind of stuff. We don't have this information. Your browser got this information by talking directly to your L&D node.
Good. Yep. Okay, so our Thunderhub instance just started. We can launch that. The password to your Thunderhub is also the important password that we don't save. So Thunderhub is an open source project built by a guy named Tony. He's the head of Amboss, for those that don't know, and is pretty much the go-to interface for L&D nodes. So there's a lot here. We have at docs.voltage.cloud, I've written lots of docs and walkthroughs on this to just kind of go through everything, get you started. But Lightning nodes have their on-chain component, which is represented by this anchor symbol. So if you want to send on-chain funds to your Lightning node, you just hit receive, create address, and there it is. And then from those funds, you open up Lightning channels from the little open button here. So who has never opened a Lightning channel before, ever, using anything? Okay, I'm just kind of curious where everyone's at. Okay, cool. So, so if if you open up a Lightning channel, for those that don't know, that is essentially saying that now I can spend funds into the Lightning network. Because a channel has sort of two components, an outbound side and an inbound side. So if I open up a channel with John's going to have all of the inbound, and I'm going to have all the outbound. Outbound is the spendable, and inbound is the receivable. As I spend, the funds are going to move like an abacus, right? Those little things are going to move across the line, and funds will move around. And those channels are then sort of spider webbed out, and now payments can hop along the network, and that's sort of how the Lightning network works. So one of the first things you need to do is open up a channel. I did that earlier. So what you would need to do that, so you can go to open. It's kind of hidden. It's like this little.
Yeah, why do they hide it? So
It's kind of weird. So we can hit open here, and then you hit open again next to manual. They sort of recommend you open channels to these guys, but I would just hit open again. And it sort of is a new peer. So I like to describe a peer as someone or a node that you could have a channel with, but you might not already. It's sort of like a pre-handshake saying you could open up a channel with me if you want to. So if you already have peers connected to, they'll show up here. I've got a couple already. If you don't have a peer in that list, you would put their pub key and socket, which is their pub key at blah 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 dot whatever.
This took me a while. This did not click with me initially with Lightning, especially if you're doing like testnet stuff. It's the communication is even harder. But the Lightning network is a communication network where you talk about lightning things with your friends. And then there's also the payment network of payment channels where you can route actual payments.
Right.
So a peer does not mean you have a financial relationship with that person, but it's a way to potentially discover other nodes that you could open channels with.
Right. Yeah, so that's sort of how you open up a channel. Everything here is kind of self-explanatory. You know, how much do you want to open up a channel with? And, you know, of course, opening up a channel is an on-chain transaction, so you have to determine your sats per vbyte, so you can, you know, put that in, and then open your channel, and then when you do that, you'll have a nice channel. So like, I opened up a 1 million sat channel earlier, so I can spend 1 million right now. So right now, I can go to Bitrefill and buy a $200 Amazon gift card with my Lightning node. And not including the time it takes for those confirmations, this is probably like 15 minutes of setup from start to finish, not including those confirmations, which I think is incredible compared to like how long it took me to build my first Lightning node using command line on a Raspberry Pi. So,
How do you choose who you open that first channel to?
oh, it's a great question. Yeah, so if you don't have any friends or anything, or you don't want to really like dox yourself, so there's a couple different ways. In my opinion, the easiest way, and this is kind of an annoying website, there's a website called terminal.lightning.engineering, and this is a Lightning Labs sort of ranking for public nodes out there, and they use, if it comes, hey, all right. So it's just a ranking system that they use. It's kind of arbitrary, but there are 6 main sort of attributes that make up a good node, and this is sort of gives you a good idea. So, a really good node on the network that you want to connect to is a node that's online. They have good connectivity to the rest of the network. They have good capacity on their channels. Their channels are also to other nodes that are also healthy. Channel stability, that means that they don't like open and close constantly, and your peers are also pretty good. So I would recommend, if you're just like want to open up a channel and just, I would recommend going to this website, checking out those, and make sure that they have the 6 check marks, and then just real quick, I would then take their public key, which is this piece here before the @ symbol. Actually, I mean, you could just take the whole thing. You could just take the whole thing, and then I would plug that into amboss.space. And amboss.space is a I would say, yeah, a database of public info about the Lightning network. No, it is just pub key. That's fine. Search. So this one that I found is on a ClearNet. You can see the IP address there. All right, so this Bitcoin facts guy. So it gives you a lot of data here. The main thing I am looking for is average channel size. All right, so if I want to open up a 5 million sat channel, I don't want to open it up with a node that doesn't really have close to that as an average size channel. And the reason why is it's sort of a routing bottleneck, right? So if I want to open up a 5 million sat channel and spend 2 million out of that, if I'm not using something advanced like AMP, which is multi-path payments, I would want my payment to succeed as much as possible. So average channel size is where I would go to on this. If you want to get real advanced, you can scroll down and look at what fee rates are being set. Just in case, because spending through channels costs fees sometimes. But that's pretty much all I would do. What do you think?
This is very helpful.
Yeah.
I feel like I just don't have the patience to be a good shepherd of my node. So my node just languishes, and then I try to make a payment and it doesn't work, so I just use Moon or something.
Yeah, it's and I think that's perfectly fine. I think a lot of the use case over the sovereign Lightning nodes is really folks that really want I don't want to say to stay hidden, but like just privacy. It's private. It's private. It's free. As far as no one can stop you really, and no one's like OpenNode and stuff. I love OpenNode, but they take a fee, that sort of thing. So different use cases for different people. I think that it's getting a lot easier to run a Lightning node though, and Voltage is helping at least on the staying online part, the hardware part. We are looking at ways on making the liquidity stuff easier. We do have a product. I don't really have enough time to go into it, but we do have a channel purchase product called Flow that's really, really easy. You just say, I want to buy a 3 million sat inbound channel, and then you pay like a small fee, and then that goes to a marketplace that will match and open up a channel.
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned, this has definitely been a pain point. I think it's gotten a lot better. Is you go find a random node, open a channel to them. Now you have all this outbound. Let's say you did the average. So now you have 4 million sats of outbound. You did the average channel size of Bitcoin Facts.
Yeah.
But you don't have any inbound, and so now there's a lot of different ways of paying good nodes to open channels towards you. So now you have inbound. So Flow is one of those, but there's a bunch of others.
Yeah, getting that initial bootstrapped inbound liquidity is the hardest part of starting a node. But a lot of marketplaces are coming out now. So Lightning Pool, which we have that wrapper on called Flow, is built into our dashboard. But that shouldn't be the only thing that you use. Amboss.space, which I recommend everyone just bookmarking now because it's an amazing resource, has a marketplace itself even where you can buy channels from other folks on the network. And if your node is lucky enough or you manage it enough to get those 6 check marks on Lightning Terminal, you can even go to the Amboss Magma Marketplace and you can say, I will open up a 3 million sat channel if you pay me 30,000 sats or something. And people can start paying you to open up channels to them. What's up?
So, another way, which I think some of us do, at least I do anyway, of getting like inbound once you've like funded it yourself, is just sending to yourself.
Yes.
So is there a benefit to paying somebody for that capacity? Like with buying capacity off people, do you actually like get like more routing advantages and stuff as well, or is there any other advantage to just the capacity?
When you say sending to yourself, you mean to like a custodial wallet, I assume, because if it's to another node that you run, it's still the same liquidity problem, right? So you're talking about like wallet of Satoshi.
Yeah, normally
or
just like I
something.
just normally do it to wallet of Satoshi
Yeah.
or something, and then I just It's just,
I think
it's
that's-
just an easy, quick way, and then depending
Yeah.
on the fees, obviously you're paying fees to like Loon or wallet of Satoshi or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean that's the only downside, but that's totally a valid way. I would recommend that way. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what limits they have or whatever.
Is it more advantageous though to do like to purchase the capacity? Like do you get more advantages to that rather than?
Yeah. So usually how it works is they're if you're trying to buy from them, at least I'm going to use the Magma sort of as the example.
Yeah.
They agree to keep the channel open for a certain period of time and not to charge fees higher than a certain amount that's established at the beginning. So
Just kind of like signing a contract with them saying you're kind of guaranteeing what to
yeah,
be true.
and
for at
then
least a
after
period
that
of time.
point though, they're not obligated to close the channel. They can keep the channel open. So there's nothing explicitly beneficial about it. It's just kind of another way,
Yeah.
I would say, to get it. And I think that this is going to be more and more automated soon. I think that's what everybody is working on, this like liquidity automation. Like imagine a marketplace where you can automatically either like put in a few parameters and automatically sell channels, or put in a few parameters that automatically buy channels. Like if my node inbound liquidity is below 20% of my total node, buy a channel that's at least this size for at least 2% APR or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like boom. So I think that's like the direction we're heading. So we're not going to be dealing with this manual stuff I think for too long. But yeah, that's the bootstrap is the hardest part, especially for like a merchant. So hopefully we'll be getting there. Flow helps, but it's
Or
still
just have friends.
or just have friends.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of like high profile people or institutions or whatever that are starting Lightning nodes, they have the ability to go to Twitter, go to social media, go to their newsletter and say, hey, this is our Lightning node, open up a channel to us, and people will do it, right? A lot of influencers and stuff do that. But when you're just a normal person trying to stay on the down low, it's a little bit tougher.
This is basically, if you've got a node running in the cloud or wherever, how do you as a developer talk to that node and make it do things for you? And I'm a front-end dev, so I especially struggle with this, so this is kind of, some self-help going on. But so I have this repo, it's at my GitHub, futurepaul / simple voltage demo. It's one of my pinned repos. I walk you through, so you can create a node and you can create a testnet node. And there are not as many cool tools for getting liquidity on testnet.
Yeah.
And testnet, the blocks are really random. So you might not see a block for a while, or all of a sudden there's like
So,
20
Are
blocks.
we limited to testnet? There's no signet option?
We don't have Signet. I think that would be amazing.
The signet has like every 10 minutes, it's automated, right?
Yeah, well, it's whichever Signet you're a part of.
Right.
So what's that? Plugnet Playground.
Yeah, that's good.
I would love if we had something where we either tied into this or just made the voltage playground
Yeah.
for this kind of thing. So you could set up like a block time of like 1 minute or something like that. The other way, and I'll get into it, is if you wanted to run stuff locally, you can do reg test.
Okay.
But on voltage, you got mainnet or testnet, basically. So there's actually a pretty nice testnet lightning faucet. And so you just give it your node pub key and how big you want. And so that's worked for me. It's just a little bit of a pain. But then you can also go to a regular testnet faucet, get some testnet coins, send that to your node, then open channels with that. So it's a bit of a pain.
Can I run a Bitcoin mining on testnet to get my
Yeah, actually,
voltage?
yes. Go
Find
for
your
it.
own test net.
Yeah, start a new faucet. Give me some testnet coins.
Can't use any of the modern miners though, because you have to be able to SSH into it and they've been blocked forever. I've tried.
Let's do that. Okay, so now, like, how do you actually talk to this node? Assuming you've got liquidity, I'm happy to talk more about that. This is a project that you can clone and run, and just as kind of a bit of a demo. So if we go back to, where was that? Nodes.
Oh wait, we're
Oh,
here
this-
till noon.
Oh, dang.
Remember, that was 11:30. Oh, we get it.
Oh, that's not, that's staging. We'll look away.
Bank of America official. I like it.
This is Bank of America official, and so one of the nicest things about, I don't know, if you have tried to talk to your node, and it's like an Umbrel node or something like that, and it's behind a Tor address, it can be a little harder to communicate with. So you end up with a voltage node, you have a stable like domain name like this. So that would be your API top endpoint to talk to the node. And then if you go in here, you can get like the macaroon information. And if you need the TLS certificate, you can download that. There's a lot of instructions on the internet for here's how to connect to an LND node, and they involve the TLS certificate. But our nodes are at I don't know all the right words for it, but they have the HTTPS lock works, right? So you don't have to do the manual TLS cert. It's just regular internet security that just works.
It's good to point out because that's a lot of issues. So people are like, got my TLS cert, what's wrong? It's not working, whatever. And it's, you know, if you ever go to like the comments like TLSert equals, just put double quotes and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, like for instance, when you connect Lightning Terminal, right? That's the one, right? What's LNCLI.
Yeah.
If you want to connect with LNCLI, it's like you
Yeah.
typically put your TLSer path. With voltage, you just put it in blank. You don't need it because we do HTTPS. So yeah, so you get your, let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, manual. I need to stop looking at that screen because that's so slow. All right.
Yeah.
So I get my macaroon in hex form to, this is an admin macaroon, and I pull it into this simple voltage demo project. Actually, I already have it right in here. So I make some environment variables. Obviously, an admin macaroon is not something you want to publish on the internet. And so as a front-end dev, who I like to ship all of my code just straight to the user, I can't do that with an admin macaroon hex. Because that can, someone with that can close all your channels, sweep all your funds, they can do anything they want to your node. So what I have said, this is a Next.js project, and I don't know if anybody here is like front-end dev, but in Next.js you can create API routes. They're like little, basically like Lambda functions that run Node.js, and they're not running on the client. They run on the server, and so you can expose sensitive secrets to them, like an admin macaroon. I mean, admin macaroon means you're giving this host, this power, but you're not giving it to all of your users. So actually what I have in this project is the first thing it does, let's make sure I source that environment file, and obviously make sure to ignore your environment variables. So you source that, and then I'm gonna run this. And so this button will, let's see if it works first. Yeah. So this is, I just called a method on LND, which is to bake a new macaroon. So I baked an invoice macaroon.
So a macaroon is a permissions cookie, for those that don't know.
Macaroon is a fancy cookie.
Fancy cookie.
Is the
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like a bearer token. These are the permissions that I'm allowed to. So when I hit my endpoint at this is the REST API for talking to LND, and I bake a macaroon with these invoice permissions. Then that pops out this invoice macaroon. And so this is, if I was going to ship something to the internet, you really only need the invoice macaroon unless you're creating some sort of UI that like opens and closes channels. Like if you're trying to build Thunderhub, you need an admin macaroon. But if you just need some invoices, an invoice macaroon is plenty. So I'm going to run this again, and so create a payment request and decode that. This is a really helpful thing, lndcode.com, and so you can see there's a description. So anyways, this whole project is basically a cheat sheet for if you're going to do the hackathon, or if you want to start a project that communicates with LND. These are some methodologies. I've got some more methodologies I'll show you guys as well, but are there any questions so far?
Is there access to command line through voltage? So if I wanted to use LNCLI or...
Right. Yeah, you just have to install it locally and then point it towards your voltage.
So
Yeah.
not through the web interface?
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
And yeah, you don't SSH into your voltage node, but yeah, you can communicate using. And that's a nice thing. All of these apps built on Lightning are designed to communicate to either the REST or usually the gRPC API, and so they all work remotely. They don't have to be on the same machine as LND. Yeah, so baked the invoice. So I wanted to talk about what I actually do for development. A lot of times, you mentioned Signet, is a lot of times I'll use Polar. Does anybody here use Polar? Okay, so this is an awesome tool. It's kind of hard to see in that dark one, but maybe it's.
Yeah, they're
Wow. So you can just design your own network of nodes right here. And this has nothing to do with voltage, by the way. I'm just saying, like, you're a developer, you're trying to make a Lightning app, like how do you get a good environment to do it? I think Polar is a really great way. So like, I've got this Alice node right here. You get the, I gotta start my network. Hope this works. I'll have to download 30 Docker containers or something like that.
sounds right.
Well, this is running on regtest. So regtest, you can just mine blocks really rapidly, as many as you want. So like quick mine. So you just, and so that means you have all the Bitcoin, all the fake Bitcoin, and so you can easily give that to these nodes. You can open channels, and then you need to progress the blockchain a few blocks ahead to confirm those channels. Hopefully this comes up.
So this is really useful for seeing if your project is interoperable with LND and C Lightning and other implementations too.
Yeah,
Or-
this runs. This does run Core Lightning.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, and you can also, man, I hope this boots up eventually, but if not, it's fine. But you can also pop open a terminal for any of these, and you have command line access to each of these nodes individually. So you can issue commands and stuff.
So
C logs and
these
stuff.
are all the nodes you have running on voltage?
No, so I'm sorry. I this is kind of a rough transition. This is completely separate from voltage. It has nothing to do with this. It's just a way to do like a local reg test,
Okay.
a Lightning network of multiple nodes, so that you can because like sometimes your apps might involve two nodes. Like you're moving stuff. You want to see that it works. You want to be, or you have a test node, but now you need a node that can pay to that test node. We don't have to.
We'll come back.
So there are other ways of communicating. So I just showed you just the vanilla REST API, famously, which is it's just the node, that node URL and that port, and then this path, which I think I have this up. No, that's the voltage. Yeah, this is
Yeah, LND.
LND's documentation.
Yeah.
So there's a lot here, and sometimes it's really hard to find the thing. Like, turns out to create an invoice, you want to post to /v1/invoice. And you have all of these options, but not all of them are required. So like LN service, if you don't need, if you can just run it in Node, LN service is a nice JavaScript library. Obviously, I have this bias towards JavaScript as just a front end dev. It's what's more comfortable for me. But you can get all these. So like, let's see, invoice. Here's a create invoice in here. The other nice thing with LN service is you can do subscriptions. So a lot of times, if you're making an app, you're going to want your app to subscribe to like the completion of a payment or something like that. Like if you think of on BTC Pay Server, you pay an invoice and it's sitting there waiting, then all of a sudden it's like it's paid. There's probably some subscription going on in the background there. A hackathon recently, this is Steven's project, they used LN service to make a jukebox. So you could pay and stuff would just show up.
When you say subscribe, though, does that mean to kind of check continually if something has changed on a server?
Yeah, were you guys polling? Okay. Yeah. Well, so I mean, obviously, if yeah.
I think like Alex might have used Ellen service for some things, but when it came to actually checking if the invoice was paid, I was just using like a JavaScript timer function.
Okay,
checking
yeah,
it.
there you go. Yeah, well, so that's the frustrating thing about my setup is because these are just endpoints, I just have to keep on hitting them over and over, even though this is like in the back end. The way this works, none of these can't be long-running processes, these little Lambda functions, right? But if you have like a Node.js server that can be on all the time, and you use something like subscribe to invoice, you could basically expose that as like a WebSocket thing. So your front end can be talking over WebSocket and just be subscribed, and then as soon as that happens, it's notified. So yeah, so this is much more akin to the gRPC API, and it's got a lot of nice stuff, and it's it's built by Alex Bosworth. So this is probably the premier library if you're a front end dish dev or if you like JavaScript. Another approach to talk to your node is use BTC Pay Server to do all the talking to your node. And I actually did this with John's help for OpenSats. So, has anybody been to OpenSats recently? So,
This is so cool.
So the requirement for this is because it's a nonprofit. They to be able to do tax deductible donations, you have to KYC. You have to have the name and the email and what you paid for to come to you as a receipt, so that you have a receipt for tax deduction purposes that says that you donate, like why and what you donated and how much. And so we needed to be able to send receipts on the completion of the payment. So this will just load up Stripe, and then this will go to BTC Pay. And when you pay this, let's see. Here we go. This is another one of those serverless routes, but it basically it talks to the BTC Pay, and it passes along this metadata. And the reason that webhooks was helpful for this is that on that payment completion, BTC Pay was able to send out a webhook on my behalf, which could be just go straight to like an email send service, for instance, to send the receipts. In our case, we actually use Zaprite, and Zaprite collects all these payments in its dashboard, and Zaprite sends out these email receipts. So this worked. There's a lot. I feel like, to me, it feels like it's kind of overkill to use BTC Pay, but it was the most straightforward thing I could think of at the time. Another way to talk to, is Ellen Bits. So we just added this Ellen Bits dashboard. Ellen Bits has all these crazy extensions. Like, turns out you don't need to use PlebFM. There's like 2 different Ellen Bits extensions to do to pay for music. There's a lot of Ellen URL stuff. There's like paywalls, just regular like tip jars. You can make withdrawal links. They've got a point of sale. But they also have they also have a real simple API. So like get wallet details, create an invoice, check an invoice. I mean, that's like a lot of what a Lightning app is, right? It's create an invoice, check an invoice. So if you don't want to deal with all those macaroon shenanigans or whatever, this could be another, like this, unlike the Thunderhub dashboard, this is just a long-lived URL.
It doesn't expire, yeah.
So,
yeah, if you ever try to install Ellen Bits yourself and try to connect it to your own node and stuff, like, it's just a big headache, and I'm really excited because Voltage just makes it easy. It's all connected up, and you can just build right away.
So you got that. So that's just another way to talk to L&D. I realize I'm mixing just dev environments like Polar and just ways to talk to L&D.
Yeah.
The last one I'll mention is Nigiri just added a Lightning. I've used Nigiri for reg test on-chain stuff, but Nigiri now will spin up an L&D node and a core Lightning node for you. And it's like Polar in the command line with less, maybe fewer options, but I enjoy using it, and it'd be great, especially if you want to do something kind of more automated for testing your project. Yeah, good luck, have fun. See you at the hackathon. But yeah, so any other questions?
Yeah, we kind of reserved like this last period for just, you know, if anyone wants to get their hands dirty and ask questions, maybe dive into the API docs, you know, and just kind of hang out and ask questions. That's kind of what we were thinking, I think. We have a Discord server, and we have like a dev channel and stuff, voltage.cloud/Discord. Feel free to hop into there. Pretty much the whole team's on there.
You said C Lightning is coming. Is there a date?
Yeah, what's the date, Justin?
No date. We're working on it.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
What else cool are we doing, Justin? What's new in the engineering world there that you can tell people?
The Surge is almost ready for people to start poking on.
Oh, yeah.
So our kind of observability platform for your node. New relic for your node.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're calling it. So the screens are coming together. That's looking nice.
Yeah, so
More
yeah.
just kind of like Bitcoin and liquidity infrastructure, because everybody's worried about liquidity.
Yep.
So it's like that million.
Yeah, all the
million
institutions we
dollar
talk to, you know, they just.
industry.
Yep. So for those that don't know, in Miami we announced this product that we're building called Surge, which is a sort of customizable analytics tool for your nodes, or for those that really want to get into how your channels are performing and see it in a visual way, so you can, and then have options presented for decisions that you can make to optimize your node, that sort of thing. Surge is going to be a premium product, though it will not be free. We might have a free version, but we'll have a premium version too, I think. I think it's safe to
One
announce
of
that.
the interesting tidbits about L&D is L&D kind of bogs down. If it gets really big, if it's doing a lot and it has a lot of state, then it becomes harder and harder to ask L&D about that state without also impacting the performance of your node.
Yeah.
So this is hopefully a way to not mess with your node but still have perfect insight into what it's doing.
Can we blame Golang for that?
Yes, I blame Golang.
Yes.
Should write it in Rust. Yeah, if there's any other questions?
Yeah.
Oh, can I post the coupon to the
Oh, sure.
BTC chat? The
Yeah,
BTC
Well, this
we
is.
want this room to have the first dib.
Okay.
We're gonna
Yeah.
run out of these, but
Yeah, we only made 20 of these, so,
Okay, so don't
we
post
really
it.
wanted you guys that are here with us to use this.
Yeah, okay.
So trade-offs like in web dev using RESTful versus RPC for like building an application
Oh, for
that you found.
You should use RPC to talk to your node. Period.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
RESTful is not very
And
much
then-
supported.
Right. Especially because everything else is going toward RPC. Your node should speak REST, or your application speak REST.
Okay.
But like, there's definitely important. It's important to build that shim and own that shim for yourself. That's why I was built.
But for, one of the big reasons we like, for instance, the features on the voltage dashboard that talk to your L&D node, those are using REST because there's not really great ways to do gRPC in the browser without like bringing a whole ton of crap.
Right.
There is an interesting this thing called Lightning Node Connect. So
Is that the same as L&D Connect?
Is that 12-word?
there are six
Oh,
words.
yeah, the
six
six
words.
words. Yeah.
And so they're working on, so Lightning Terminal actually already works over that. Like, so you can like fire up Lightning Terminal on your Umbrel, and then you can go to that lightning.terminal.engineering website,
Terminal.lightning manager.
terminal.lightning, put in 6 words, and that will magically over a Lightning Labs proxy connect to your terminal at home.
The only thing about that is you still have to have lit running locally. It needs to talk to it constantly. So lit is short for Lightning Terminal. You have to be running the actual Lightning Terminal daemon somewhere
Right,
for
right.
that to work. But as long as that's running somewhere, you can connect to it on the web.
And so they're building that into a JavaScript library that you could import and do front end, like subscriptions, for instance, like these nice things that would be nice to have as gRPC, like so I can subscribe to something in my node. So that's but there's like some WebAssembly. There's like Golang compiled to WebAssembly to do that. So if you want just like the most minimal, clean way to talk to your node for simple things. REST from the browser, but then
Yeah.
gRPC is the first class citizen of
LND. Yeah.
If any, I know I just threw just a ton of information, so if anybody needs any help, especially during the hackathon, I hope to be around and happy to just, if stuck on anything, happy to pair on it and try to get you unstuck.
Honestly, I can talk about a few other things. So the Magma Marketplace this is sort of like the market board. So if you're looking to buy, you can sort by, how much fees that whoever's selling is charging. So like this guy wants to sell 20 million sats for a lot. That's how I sorted it. Let's sort it by cheaper. Yeah, so here's like a little cheaper one. So the cool thing about this is you can see who's selling it, and you can sort of investigate them to see if it's worth buying from them. Like this node, like just at a glance, looks great. 90 channels, 5 Bitcoins in total capacity. Average channel size is fairly large. Seems pretty cool. So it's like if I wanted to buy a channel from I just kind of click it. The thing about Amboss is you sort of have to dox your node to them by signing a message, which you can do on Thunderhub. I'll go ahead and try to do that actually. Yeah, that'll be fun. So we can go to log in here, and so it gives us a message. We can copy that, go back into our Thunderhub, go back to home. We scroll down a little. No, it's tools. You go to tools. And messages, you can sign the message. You only have to do this once, I'm pretty sure, per. So you sign it. Oh, there it is. It gives you the string. Go ahead and copy that. Slap it back into there. And that proves to Amboss that you own the node that you say you own. And Jesse from Amboss is going to be doing a presentation about something at some point. I'm not sure. I have to look at the schedule real quick, but you can add really cool stuff on this. It's really cool because, what if your node is acting funky? If you have sort of like your Telegram account tied to your account on Amboss, that gives people access to contact you. To say, hey, our channel's kind of weird, what's going on? Maybe you want to talk to them and sort it out. If you didn't have a way to contact your peers, there's no way to contact your peers. I mean, you can kind of send a message through a payment, but people don't really read their messages. It's kind of another cool function of Thunderhub, actually. You can actually send messages with a little chat box. You can send messages to pub keys. So I can be like, yo, what's up? And send it. But there's actually that'd be cool. There's an app where you can get an alert if you're.
I had no idea this existed.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I used to chat with people with this really frequently.
Good to know.
Yep.
So that's a lot like Sphinx.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it might be just tied to a millisatoshi, you know, but it's 2 sats.
There you go.
So
I would assume,
I
right?
think so. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, makes sense. So anyway, yeah, whoever that is would log on, they would see that, which is kind of cool. Where's I going with that? Oh, the Amboss thing. So yeah, you can. They have a Prime thing, whatever. But anyway, so this is just like another market board. You can buy liquidity and sell liquidity. I think that if anyone has any desire to earn stats by selling channels, all you got to do is get those 6 check marks on terminal web, and then do it. Even if your node's not the best on the network, just set a lower sort of fee rate, and people might scoop up liquidity from you. It's really exciting to me because like opening up a channel, like there's. I'm hesitant to say no risk, but it's like you're just opening up a channel and someone's paying you for it. It's not like you're investing in something or risking something, which is really a neat concept, especially when this gets automated. But yeah, and then our I guess last thing, real quick. Yeah, I'll just do it real quick.
So Amboss is specific to LND.
The cool thing about it is it's anything. So you can sell, L&D can sell the Core Lightning can sell the Eclair, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if anyone runs Eclair nodes, I'm just throwing that out there. But I think it's all the same standard. I mean, they use HODL invoices, so you have to prove that you opened up the channel. It's kind of like this weird back and forth. But it's not too bad. And then Flow is the voltage in-house wrapper around Lightning Pool, which is the Lightning Labs liquidity marketplace. So I can say, you know what, I want to put in an order for 1 million sats, and I only want to match with the best nodes on the network, which according to Lightning Labs is the ones with the 6 green check marks. I want it for 2016 blocks, and I'm willing to like pay whatever for it.
This is why this is a challenge. It's a really fun concept, and it's pretty private way to get channels open to you, because you end up paying for this channel open, but you don't even have to pay from your node. You could use Strike, and so you're instructing some random node to connect to this other node, but it's I don't know,
from outside of that whole agreement.
right, which is really fun. But the big thing is setting this rate right, because people are obviously going to be worried about overpaying. But if you underpay, it's not like it rejects you. It's just that you put out a really low bid in a blind auction, and so it's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean you did anything wrong, and it might actually get filled. But then at the same time, people like will come to me and like, it got filled right away. That means I way overpaid. So that's the kind of the hard part about this. But if you're cool with trying to, guess the market on this, or going with our auto rate or whatever, could work. Or if you just know like, hey, I want liquidity at this rate, but I'm not going to pay any higher. Yeah.
How's the auto rate determined? Is that
Historical. So the matches are public. It's just the order book itself isn't. So like after a match happens, we know. But yeah, so it's I'm not sure exactly what algorithm Sam used on that. If you have a voltage node, it'll auto redeem here. If you don't, if you could use Flow without running a voltage node, if you do that, then it'll spit out a sidecar ticket, which is just a string of letters and numbers that you can redeem on your Lightning node at home and put in the order.
Using Lightning Terminal.
Using Lightning Terminal or the command line, yeah. So you can get quote, blah, 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 an invoice would come up, and it's pretty quick, but a lot of folks are like, hey, I put in a Flow and it hasn't matched in a couple days, and it's like, yeah, that sometimes happens because we don't know exactly the volume of the order book, but the best thing is to try to use multiple ways to get inbound. This is one tool, Magma is another tool, asking your friends is a tool, doing submarine swaps is a tool. A submarine swap is you just spending out of a channel and then receiving it back on chain, so the funds kind of flow to that inbound side.
Is this available on your API?
Yeah, we have a flow.
Oh yeah, I didn't even show you that. Yeah, so from a developer's perspective, we have instance, if you wanted to programmatically create nodes, like you can do that using Voltage. When you go to your account, you get the API key, and then you can hit any of these endpoints. So like this would be Flow. So you could create like an automated service around Flow if you wanted. You could spin up like and delete Ellen bits dashboards all day long if you want to.
On your own site.
Right, yeah, you could white label some Voltage stuff if you wanted to.
That's where I was coming from with the LN bits integration particularly, because I already have that in ZapRite, and so if I could automate a lot of that, where instead of having users to be like open up and have this whole tutorial where they have to go into their Voltage account and open it up and like take their connection string and then get their invoice read key and add it in. If I could do some of that automation and then connect it maybe to some like SaaS like tiers that I charge on ZapRite, I could say, okay, well if you pay for this tier, you'll automatically get like channel liquidity, and then I could use your API to just automatically do that from my Voltage node to their Voltage node that is automatically set up on your.
Please build that. I mean, yeah, you could absolutely, yeah, you could spin up a node on behalf of a user. You'd obviously be custodial because you would have the. We're doing an integration with. Yeah, it's like, do you end up with the user's macaroons, and so you're the custodian, versus can you find a way to do it where they still control their node in some sense?
That's the way I prefer it, yeah. I can do it where they control it,
Right.
but a lot of it is just automated from my side. That would be more ideal.
But yeah, you could spin up as long as their node's unlocked, you can spin up a the dashboard, like a Ellen bits programmatically for them. And they could give you an API key. I think we even have an onboarding flow with one of our partners. They send them over to Voltage, the user signs up, and then they get this API key that now they can bring back to them.
Oh, perfect,
Where they
yeah.
signed up.
I'll talk to you more about that, yeah, because I'd love to see that.
We're really excited for devs to jump into the whole Ellen Bits thing on Voltage. There's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
Because you can create sub wallets of your node now, and it's really cool.
All right.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.